File transfer complete.
This is the Arizona Podcast. Stories about the people, places, and events found along the highways and back roads of the Grand Canyon State.
And good morning. This is our very first live podcast on Podbean, and with a whole slew of technical difficulties. So if they haven't kind of picked up on it, I'm looking in our chat room and nobody is there. So what ended up happening was our original chat room closed and we had to open up another one. So if you find us, now we're going to look at two cameras, and if they can hear us because our mics aren't going there, what makes that a problem, you'll notice we're really not using cameras, we're using iPhones. So what you have to do is just kind of bear with us. I'm having so many technical difficulties, it's making a pro out of me. I happen to have my co-host today. Good morning to Jim Hinckley of Jim Hinckley's America. We're hanging out together. He is the official co-host of the show today. And we have a whole slew of guests going to join us, both live and on the phone. So this is going to be a great morning. We're going to speak with Ken Large. He's going to join us from Amboy at Roy's Motel and Cafe. Give us an update of what's happening on the roads there. We're expecting Mayor Cano. Bertie will be joining us from the city of Winslow. She's going to give us some updates of what's happening on that end. And she's also going to let us know what's going on with the Standing on the Corner Festival. I believe it's celebrating its 25th year this year, and it's going to be next weekend. And then as we hang out with other people, we're going to figure out what's happening in the city of Kingman. I want to make sure I have all my notes right. Sarah is here. She's my Insta friend who I met on yet another podcast, and she'll be giving us an update of what's happening in the city of Kingman. And there is a lot going on here. Jim, good morning. Thanks for joining me.
You bet, sir.
Yeah, you're going to hang out with us for a while, maybe?
Yeah.
Get you some more coffee. I don't know. We'll find it. So tell me what's going on in your world. Latest updates I've been noticing, what I love about you is you have like 8,421 things to do last week. Did you add or decrease for that?
Oh, we always add things to that. I try to keep boredom at bay.
Right. I noticed that we have a few extra guests as well. Forgot your name already? Laura. Now, she is with Golf Schoolhouse, where you'll be next month. Is that September, October?
October 12th for the rendezvous.
That's right. You're going to make a speech, a lecture.
Yeah, shadow puppets, a few other things.
You have puppets? I'm trying to figure out what happened to your... Let's try your mic now.
Yep, we got it.
Okay, we want to make sure we're on the same. Thank you so much. You know what? I want to get right to... Do you have any big news that you wanted to share with us?
No, I'm just doing the usual. I got the podcast going, meeting with tour groups, just generally creating havoc.
And for those that are not familiar with Jim Hinckley's America, you can join him for a live podcast on Podbean as well. He is Sunday morning, 7 o'clock Arizona time. And then let's see, we have Steve Lesueur is here from the B. He's also I want to say he's from Kingman, but he's like everywhere, Mojave. So, yeah, he's been here. And quite a few other people are hanging out if you didn't hear all that noise and racket. First off, allow me to thank the fine folks here at Calico's for allowing us to come in and take over their room and share some time with our locals here as well. So that was really nice of them. Brandon, his mother... Rhonda. Both of those were so special in allowing us to do that. What I need to do right now, I see he is waiting. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to do it in a different order. I think I click on that. I invite him here. And hopefully we're going to share some time with Ken Large. He is from a beautiful little place, and I have a long story. But first, Ken, I have you on the line. I want to make sure I push my button. I say, good morning, Ken. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing very well. First and foremost, thank you so much for putting up with me. Mary and I came out during the storms, which took out two of your bridges, and you allowed us to hang out with you at Roy's. And then we tried to do a live and video podcast, which turned out to be a disaster on my part with a horrible, nasty ground hum. And yet you're still putting up with me enough to join us live this morning. So what's going on in the city of Amboy?
We've spent the entire year focusing on a bunch of infrastructure projects. So we replumbed essentially all of the drain side of the little cabins, the hotel lobby, and the cafe itself, adding modern sewage facilities as well as a grease trap so that one day we can get the cafe open.
That would be great.
Additionally to that, we've got natural gas service on the property again, and we've ran new gas lines to all the cabins, the hotel, and the cafe again, in the same effect that we think that it makes sense to work towards getting the cafe open and then the hotel rooms. And our goal is to be ready by the centennial, of course, in 2026.
So you're going to get all those cabins open at Roy's and rent them out, are you?
That's the plan, is to have them very 50s-ish styled and different, almost like individual little bungalows that you rent. And Miss Nicole, my employee, will run the hotel office and kind of guide that experience and give it the right feel.
Well, I noticed the construction. Mary and I go back and forth to San Diego quite often, and we take that Wonder Valley grade, and we've been watching the progress of digging up the grounds and then getting it all sealed back up again. You allowed me to tour the city of Amboy. I found it quite interesting. I was looking online on the internet, and it put in there the population of 0. I want to count you guys as part of those residents of the city of Amboy, but can you just touch on something? You're going to be my guest, I believe, in 2 weeks. You'll be here on the Arizona podcast. We'll get a lot more details. The day I arrived, you had a group, and I have forgotten their name, and I'm hoping that I want to give them some credit. It was a group of volunteers that actually came in and sealed up the broken windows of that beautiful little church that you have there in the city of Amboy. They put in some beautiful wood and they engraved it with some burned crosses into the wood. Give it the appeal. Can you give us the names of those gentlemen that came and volunteered and made that happen?
So their group, we lovingly call them clampers, but really that's short for Eclampus vitus. And they are a group of gentlemen all over the Sierras, essentially, that help build those bronze historic markers that you see in place, but they usually donate it. And they're also helpful. So they did. They came and built those custom reclaimed wood shutters for my church. And I traded them a steak cookout for it. I cooked steaks. They made the church happen. It was amazing. Been there. It's Eclampus vitus. And the gentleman who ran that effort, his name is Wayne Hamilton, and they're just a great bunch of guys, and they've helped us several times over the years.
For those that are watching on Facebook and YouTube, there is no microphone going to you at all. You are just picking out the ambient noise. The video equipment computer is not here. So I thought we would just at least put something on the air. So we're going to wave at you and say, hey, we promised to be live this morning, which we are. So you were hearing absolutely nothing except ambient noise. And I do apologize for that. Maybe on the next show, everything will work together. Other than that, we're just kind of hanging out. And even the guests here that are hanging out, they're not hearing a darn thing that's on the air. So they're just hearing the two of us talking. So they're just they're waving and applauding when they should. So I noticed on social media, you have some kind of event coming up tomorrow. There's somebody running through the city of Amboy. Did I read that correctly?
There is, but I'm not sure what it's for. I think it's a run that's for a homeless charity.
Is that right?
Yeah. Did a pre-run, but I
gotcha.
could be wrong on that because it's not someone who arranged something with us. It's their own event.
Right, and I think Miss Nicole or one of your other great employees put something on social media that they were kind of excited that it was going to take place. So, Ken, thanks for coming in and give us an update. I can't wait, and of course, for the centennial in 2026, maybe Mary and I can come hang out at one of the cabins and do a podcast there with all the equipment working. Who knows?
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Is that how it works? I think Roberta Cano is online too. How did that happen? Birdie, are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. Just having some coffee, enjoying this fabulous weather in Winslow, Arizona.
Yeah. Now, the big news, was I right, is it 25th anniversary of the Standing on the Corner Park?
It is our 25th anniversary. Yes, the beautiful 25.
Wow.
Yeah, it's coming up next weekend.
Yeah, give us all the info. That's why we put you on the air. We want to find out what's going on.
Absolutely. So it's a 2-day festival. It's Friday the 27th and Saturday the 28th. We start Friday afternoon and that's at 3 o'clock. We've got a fabulous DJ and MC getting everybody hyped up for the evening's event. From 5 to 7, we have our legendary blues, amazing blues artist Tommy Dukes, who is in the Blues Hall of Fame. He's a local gentleman who keeps us entertained on our famous corner, and he's all around northern Arizona. From 7 to 9, after Tommy Dukes plays, is a fabulous band, Chris Payne Trio. They tour all the casinos and just have a huge following. Amazing cover band. So it's just three people that just really rock it out. So they're a wonderful wonderful band to come and watch. And then we close the Friday night from 9 to midnight with the Selena Experience. So we have an actual Selena lookalike and band that comes and does nothing but Selena's cover music. And when you want to talk about a fun, lively group, that's going to be the one to go and see on Friday night. So that's just the first night. Yeah, so
So,
I'll
wait,
go through really quickly on Saturday. We
oh,
start,
please do.
sure, absolutely. Saturday morning from 11 to 1, we have just our local dance groups and things for entertainment. We have some auction items and things. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather. My voice is a little cracky today,
Oh,
so I apologize.
don't don't worry about it at all.
Okay, thank you. Well, and then I have to do it like the next thing after the from 11 to 1 after the dancers. I have to special do a special promotion for this band. Their name is Perfect Storm, and they are a local band from Winslow, Arizona, and they are fantastic. Let me tell you. They cover everything from country to R&B to rock and roll. I mean, they can do anything and everything. And I know they've got like a really cool special lineup heading up for this year. They're going to mix it up pretty heavy with, we have a lot of class reunions that come. So they're going to do little 80s, 70s, all the way up to today's hit. Amazing band. And the singer is amazing. They just really are like a cohesive, fun, good time band. Perfect Storm.
So,
So yes,
Bertie,
sir.
you had promised me the last time we talked, which I know was a couple of years ago,
Uh-huh.
that you DJ on Saturday nights in
Oh,
town square. Is that still a thing?
well, yeah, I have had been, but I'm swamped these days. I'm gonna tell you what, I have things every single weekend. Tonight, in fact, in Winslow at our downtown Route 66 Plaza, we have sometimes you got to pass the torch, after you've done it for too long. So we have this
Right.
young gentleman, DJ Chip, who's coming out this evening, and we're going to actually have a little disco party in our downtown plaza, Route 66 Plaza. And yeah, I threatened the community that I'd come out in my roller skates,
There,
do a
now
couple
there's
turns there.
add that to the excitement. Not only do you
Yes.
DJ, you do it on roller skates. Jim, you have any questions for Bertie? It's been a while.
Yeah, I haven't been up to Winslow in a while, but it's pretty exciting what you folks are doing up that way.
Thank you. Yes, yeah, we're making it happen for sure. Yes, we're getting excited for the centennial, the Route 66 centennial. We have some things in the works, and we got a committee, feverishly trying to figure out all these fabulous events to do. And yeah, we're
Well,
we're uh, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna have a good time.
I do know that Jim is part of a group that is trying to coordinate a lot of the 2026 events. So make sure you stay in touch with him
Oh,
on his
absolutely.
calendar, and then he can share that with his group.
So yeah, we let me plug this really quickly. Is for that centennial, I just recently went into a collaboration with my sister cities along Route 66. So that's Joseph City and Holbrook. So we're working on possibly doing like a little collaborative effort where you can start in Winslow and see some of our historic Route 66 roadside attractions, and then end up in Holbrook, like where the wigwam is and things like that. So it would be like a little day adventure for whoever's wanting to stay in our area for that,
Wonderful.
especially
Would
during that time frame. So.
would you be able to make that like a loop drive, going from Winslow to Joseph City and Holbrook, and coming back through Territorial and Laws Road over the
Yeah,
Chevelon Canyon?
yeah, no, that would actually be a really nice adventure. Just to do this, see a different scenery.
Yeah,
Right.
do the
As we
loop.
drive. Yeah,
Yeah.
Do the
that'd be
picture
really
Picture
cool.
Rock Ranch and
Yeah, and that's a
Absolutely. Yeah, I
wonderful.
love that you guys know all these places. It's so great. So great.
Well, we're just two old guys that like Route 66, so we're
Sure.
learning every day. We learn something. And Bertie, thank you so much for joining us this morning, giving us an update.
Of
It's been a long time.
course.
It's been a long time, and I can't wait to come out and see you on roller skates.
Oh my gosh, right? Well, now, see, I threatened you the last time with coming downtown to the plaza to DJ, and now I have to roller skate. So, yeah, I better,
So both of them. Yeah, by the time this list gets complete, it should be a fun night.
right,
Roller skating,
exactly.
DJ, and juggling.
That's right,
Right,
in Winslow. Nothing but the best. Bertie, again,
exactly.
thanks for joining us, and we wish you the best.
Well, thank you. I hope to see everybody come out for standing on the corner. Let me just finish with this. So, of course, our finale band on Saturday night is one of these nights. It's the Eagles tribute band.
Oh,
So,
cool.
that in itself, if you do just come for that, it's a great time. You're going to be around the best people ever, and I'd love to see everybody come out. It's going to be a great evening. Beautiful weather.
Well,
So
you are perfect. You are the perfect spokeswoman. Thank you.
thank you so much. And gentlemen, thank you for having me. I always love to chat with you and promote
Well,
Fabulous Winslow.
we love you as well. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care. Have a good day.
Bye. So I noticed that a lot of people are looking at me like they can't hear the phone call. Just so you know that this little plug right here was supposed to go to a speaker so you could hear everything that was happening. And that also didn't come with the all the equipment. And I apologize to our friends. I know that you can't hear anything. You're just kind of looking at us. If you want, you can download the Podbean app. It's available for Android and iOS. And then you can hear the show live on Podbean. Just look for Arizona Podcast. And then you can join the group and jump into the chat room and chat with us, ask any questions, or even join us with a live call-in.
Well, it should. I've learned something this morning that trying to do an Amish podcast it doesn't work.
Well, the hand crank to keep the generator going is when I don't know if people see my foot here is keeping the electricity running so we can make that happen. And you know what? If it weren't for inconsistency, nothing would be consistent.
If you think today's bad, wait till next week when it's worse, and you'll look at this as the good old days.
The good old days, you bet. Let's see. We have still a bunch of things that are happening in the city of Kingman.
Yeah.
And I think what we want to do...
tomorrow night's chilling on Beale downtown. That's always a good time.
Sunday night.
Saturday night. Tonight, excuse me. Yeah.
Saturday night.
Good. Confusion.
So that's tonight.
Yes, that is tonight.
Or it could have been last year. But, if you come down, you never know what you'll find in downtown Kingman.
This afternoon about 5 o'clock. Should be pretty busy downtown.
Gotcha. Let's see. What do we have here? The other one I was going to point out, Jim, you had mentioned something while we were having a cup of coffee, first part of the week. In 2026, we're celebrating the 100-year centennial of Route 66. And then you had brought up the fact that it's the 20th anniversary or the 25th anniversary of the movie Cars.
20th anniversary of Cars.
So we'll be doing that in 2026, which, of course, for those that don't know, that whole inspiring of Lightning McQueen all began here in the state of Arizona. Radiator Springs is the name of their town, but we know it better as Seligman, Arizona. And Angel had a lot to do with that. If you're not familiar with what happens in Seligman, you need to go by. And then also, why I'm bringing this up is 2026 also is our 250th anniversary of the signing of the Independence, Declaration of Independence. So we have a lot of things happening in 2026, and it all kind of ties into Route 66. But you had mentioned an automobile anniversary as well for 2026. What was that?
Well, we've got Chrysler coming up. It's kind of stretching a little point. It's also the 90th anniversary of the Green Book for the Negro Motorist, the first printing of that.
A lot of people aren't familiar with that.
Stretching the Chrysler point, Chrysler really came into being in 1925, but it was a Maxwell Chrysler. 1926 was the first year that they dropped the Maxwell name and they just called it Chrysler.
Right. You would think Chrysler would have something big coming up for 2026. We can hope.
Yeah, they should have, to celebrate that. You bet.
I mean, there's so much that's going to happen on the Mother Road. And
what better place to talk about and share America's story than on the main street of America?
Right here.
Yeah.
I think that's why I've tried to put this together. And for those who don't know, this was just kind of a dream that the Arizona podcast moved into the Mother Road Minute, where we kind of celebrate little 1 minute vignettes, things along the Mother Road. And then I kind of opened up this, and this is live from the Main Street of America. So I'm hoping, Mary and I are hoping that we'll be making tours up and down Route 66 and invite the locals to talk about the events that are going on. I'm hoping that it works. I just won't forget speakers and video equipment and everything else. So we have more people to talk to. Jim, who shall we bring on now? Make sure. Good morning. Good morning. It was so fun to speak with you via email with the excitement that's going on at Goff's Schoolhouse. Now, a lot of people don't know where Goff's Schoolhouse is.
If you're leaving Arizona and you're crossing into California and you're on the 40 and you're passing Needles, you'll see an exit after Needles for Las Vegas. So Searchlight in Las Vegas, you take that exit, and then right before the railroad crossing there, you make a left on Goff's Road. It's the only road you can turn onto off of California 95. 14 miles down the road, you cross the Goff's Crossing, railroad crossing, and you're right there. And we're the Mojave Desert Heritage and Cultural Association. And we run and operate the Goff Schoolhouse. It's a historic building. It's on the Registry of Historic Places. And that was originally the only building that was there. It was built in 1914 because Goff's was a railroad town.
Right.
And we were known as the top of the hill out of Needles because it's all uphill. In the 1880s, they were steam engines, and then they had to restock with the water to make the steam.
Right.
So that's how Goff's got started. Every 9 miles, they had to restock with the water.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Now, you have a big event coming up next
Yes, we
month.
do. Columbus Day weekend.
And Jim's going to be a special guest for you.
He is our keynote speaker on Saturday night after our big deep pit barbecue that we're going to have. Our rendezvous happens every year. It's a members-only event. So we encourage anybody who wants to come out. They can join as member. Membership is only $50 a year for your whole family.
Gotcha.
And you come out. You can also camp for free. We have a lot of camping area. We've got hookups, 30 amp, 50 amp hookups, so people can bring their RVs.
Wow.
And we have a lot of dry camping. We could probably accommodate maybe up to about 60, almost 80 rigs on our property now. And we've got restrooms. We've got about 8 or 9 public restrooms, depending. So one of the features that we have, I think that makes us very special, is that we have 3 working stamp mills. So those old stamp mills that you'd see that crush the ore in the old mining days, we have 3 of them on our property, and we maintain them, and we run them, and we have a millman program. We call it millman, but women too. And we train, and then we certify people to be able to run stamp mills. They're very dangerous, and it takes a lot of training. But we're the only place that has 3 working stamp mills. We run them during mostly member events.
Wonderful. And again, what is the date of the event?
That is going to be Thursday, the 10th through the 13th.
Gotcha. And the night you're appearing?
Saturday the 12th.
Saturday
yes,
the 12th.
He'll be right. He's our keynote speaker right after our big barbecue.
Is there a phone number people can contact you, or a website?
There's a website. It's called themojaveroad.org. And they could also email us at mdhca.goffs@gmail.com.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping they'd be able to do.
Yes, and they can just come and visit and sign up, register for the event, and become members.
So you had mentioned those coming from Arizona to get to Goff's.
Yes.
If they're coming from California towards Arizona, they would get off on Goff's Road, right?
They absolutely do.
And then,
couldn't be easier than that.
What's that?
At the Fenner.
At the Fenner, there's the one gas station
The
there.
one gas station,
the very
Chevron.
expensive guest.
Yeah, Mary and I had to stop in there once, and yeah, that was.
Yeah, that's a shock.
I think we took out a loan.
That's about
You'll
right.
notice they don't put price up by the freeway.
No.
They just,
No.
hey, come on in, we have gas.
Well, a little funny story about Fenner is that I had Tesla, I contacted Tesla to put a Tesla charger in. It's not a supercharger like they have in Needles,
Right.
but it's like a medium size one, so that it takes a while. If you come in with no power at all, you're going to be there for a few hours to get you enough to get to Needles, to the supercharger. Well, Fenner has electric EV chargers too, but all the older Tesla models cannot use their charger. So we get panicked calls all the time from Tesla owners calling from Fenner saying, I have no power left in our car. Do you have a charger? Well, I hope we make it. They just have to go 10 miles down the road to get to our charger.
Right.
And when there was a big traffic jam on the 40 a few weeks ago because the 15 was shut down, we had about 12 Teslas all lined up to use our one charger because they didn't anticipate being stuck in traffic and they didn't get far enough.
There is a great business idea for somebody who wants to have portable generators. Is anytime there's a traffic jam, drive towards the traffic jam and sell power.
There you go.
I'm always thinking.
Goffs, you guys, and of course Dennis was instrumental in that, but it's one of the great overlooked museums, I think, on Route 66.
Yeah.
It's a real surprise in the desert for people.
Yeah, and it's not just the schoolhouse. We have the largest private historic archive of the East Mojave Desert. And one of the jewels that we have in our collection are the oral histories. So Dennis Casper, our founder, and many of our other volunteers had the oral history program. Actually talked to people that went to school at Goffs. And their descendants, and people that homesteaded, because that whole area of Landfair Valley was big on homesteading in the early 1910s and 20s. So to get their stories before they passed away was amazing. And so we have those oral histories.
Awesome.
And I think that is the best thing that we have in our archives. Of course, we have beautiful old historic photographs too. And we get a lot of researchers that come through. They're doing PhDs or whatever on various topics, especially homesteading.
Ken Large popped back into the chat room from Roy's. And he mentioned there's a great set of books at Goff's Schoolhouse. So obviously he's been out there a few times and looked around. And he also mentioned, we had brought it by, I mentioned a runner making an appearance. It's called Dead Scout. And I think Dead Scout is somebody I would have no idea who this is, but very popular person. And he's actually running Route 66. And he will be in Amboy tomorrow. He's doing this as a fundraiser for suicide awareness. So I knew there was something going on.
So is he coming to Goffs?
I don't know. He said Route 66. So something
maybe
to check with social media. That's how I found out about it. I just happened to look at it, and people were excited that they would be going through.
Good. Well, that's good.
So thanks so much for stopping by and being a part of this. I wish you great success on the event. And anytime you have Jim there, it's either, I don't know, he has to follow a barbecue. I'm trying to figure out. I want to see how well he does.
Yeah, we do something, even if it's wrong. We do.
And a shout out to the Clampers. That's a big men's organization that do a lot of great work around the desert. They put in all those monuments to historic sites. They did that with ours too.
I was so impressed with what they had done at that old church.
Yes,
and have you been in the church?
I've not been inside.
You need to just show up and ask Ken or maybe Miss Nicole.
Yes.
And they'll walk you across, and they open it up. The mural, the hand-painted mural, it's priceless. You have to see the work of art that's there.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy they were able to do that because kids were breaking in, and you knew that was going to be the next thing to get tagged.
Of course, and they're the ones that are doing our deep pit barbecue for us on Saturday night.
Oh, there you go.
On the 12th.
There you go.
So that's why we have to give a shout out.
That is going to be a hard act to follow, Jim.
We rely on volunteers and our members, so we have to make sure we thank them.
Well, we thank you for coming by and being a part of the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, bye.
Laura, real quick, when I started putting this program together for you on the 12th about travel in the West and the Southwest, I knew about bicycling in the late 1890s, but I really surprised myself with finding how much bicycling was taking place in the Southwest of the Mojave Desert in the 1890s. People were making bicycle trips from Los Angeles to the Grand Canyon, across the desert. There was people stopping in Yuma and other places, Ludlow, that were doing around the world bicycle trips in 1890 and 1893.
They had to stop for the water.
Well, we do get a lot of bicyclists now, and they're coming from all over the world. And we had a gentleman, Mr. Shu, and he was from China, and he was riding his his bike all across the entire country. And so I was contacted in advance saying that we were going to be one of the stops for him, overnight stops for him.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And we just so happened to be having one of our member events. And so we made a big deal of it. He got a flag out. He should be, it was just a fun event just to have him pop in at that particular time.
Perfect. I love when those things happen. And
Yes.
things are, again, I don't have a calendar of events, and I count on Jim to let me know when there's an event, or you guys to let me know. But when I see something, I'd like to talk about it and see if we can't get some awareness going on.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
And bring more people out to Route 66, even before the centennial.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
being here. We
Okay.
appreciate it. We'll talk soon.
One of the things with the calendar events, I work with Marian Pavel on the Route 66 navigation app, and I try to get events on the app as fast as I can, as much as I can. And then regional events, the Kingman area, we have the Kingman.tours website, which is the narrated historic district walking tour, now has an interactive calendar.
Right.
And I try to update that as well as Steve, but Steve has set it up so event organizers can update it themselves, add their own information to the website.
And that has to do just with the Kingman area, or
Yeah, Kingman area, Wallapai Mountain Park, Hackberry, Oatman,
Gotcha.
this area.
yeah, he's come a long way. So that kind of helped there. Sarah, hi. Sarah's, for those that don't know, Sarah became my Insta friend by telephone after listening to you with Jim. And you have such an enthusiasm about you. I think you are one of those, where they say the people that could sell a phone book. I think you're one of those kind of people. You have that ability to share the excitement. So you have a bunch of things. You're part of Main Street, Kingman Main Street. You have and if I'm wrong in the title, you own a business which is west of Third. West of Third.
Or we're east of Second.
No,
So.
okay. Well, you're right in the middle between first and
But we are west of Third.
Gotcha. So I'm glad that works for you. So welcome to Arizona Podcast in the very first edition of Live from Main Street of America. I'm glad you could make it, and you are such a sweetheart. Thank you so much. What's going on in the city of Kingman?
Oh, wow. Okay. So, well, we, with Kingman Main Street, we're specifically a downtown organization. And so we really focus on all things downtown. I was trying to think of how to describe Kingman Main Street, and I think it's really community building is what we do a lot of. We build partnerships with other organizations that are doing things downtown. We just completed our mural. It's on the back of the Beale Street Theater. So in partnership with them, they offered up that space, and in 2019 we crowdfunded with the community, and we fundraised, and we had a panel of people selecting the artists. There was like 45 people that submitted their art internationally. And we were able to pick one person. It was anonymous. It was just based off of their, what they submitted.
Right.
But in 2019, Kirk Sees, he painted that mural. Have you seen that mural?
I have not.
Okay, you have to drive on Route 66 and look
I
at
have
the Beale.
seen it online. I haven't seen it. in person.
Oh, he just came back and painted it the beginning of this week. So it's actually been a really busy week.
It's a big upgrade.
Yeah, but it is absolutely stunning. We call it Love.
Right.
And it is just, it was our very first project that we did as a nonprofit. It was it was the time where we didn't have a lot of volunteers, and we were like, we're going to make it or break it. And so we said we need to do something that's going to be a win. And so we did this mural. And so it had really gotten weathered. It was looking really sad. And there was the construction on the back of the theater. And so it had a couple big holes cut into it. It had a little bit of vandalism, and it had faded, a lot. And so just having him come back and paint it was really exciting. And so he just completed that.
Now, was it your website or was it on the B where you showed the debut of it? It was the dark video and you showcased. Was that your website?
I'm not sure. Would that have been on Kingman.tours.
I knew it was somewhere. Again, social media, you kind of breeze through everything.
You know, I think that maybe Paul Gaines, he's the vice president in our group, and he's a volunteer with us, and he's absolutely amazing. But he shared a photo, I think, or a video on our Facebook page.
Right.
But we actually got a huge tarp when we first did it, and we dropped the tarp and unveiled it.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so that was really neat. This time we had Lee Williams Marching Band come and do a drum roll, and it wasn't as dramatic as that first time, but it was really
fun. It still
fun.
doesn't matter. It was still part of it.
Yeah.
But the way that you introduce what you do, you just focus on Main Street, but you also know what's happening in the city of Kingman. I know you were a big part of the excitement of the Beale Hotel. There it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was one thing that was really the mural was our most recent thing. It just got tied up this weekend.
Right.
But this Hotel Beale, the renovation, we're renovating the facade of Hotel Beale in partnership with Henderson Investment. That's the family that own Hotel Beale.
Right.
And so we are really excited about that. And Jim can tell you about the history. I'm not a historian.
No, I hear it all the time. Jim shares. He's talking about finding old neon down in the basement and everything that's in the Hotel Beale, which has a legacy. What movie stars and now Andy Devine, which that's the name of the street the Hotel Beale is on. Mm-hmm. Big parade coming up. Mm-hmm. Was that next weekend? Is the parade? What's
a couple of weeks? Andy Devine Days parade, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The 54th annual. It's only been going on. And for those that don't know who Andy Devine is, please go look on Google, and you'll see this man's face, and you'll go, "Oh my God, I know who that is." It's one of those unrecognizable names for some.
Yeah.
But boy, what a familiar face that is.
Yeah. So we are going to be renovating the facade of Hotel Beale, and the whole idea, the reason this came about. People have been dreaming about fixing up Hotel Beale forever, and have worked on it in the past, but the tour, Kingman.tours, which we started in partnership with Jim and Steve.
Right.
That was kind of the inspiration for renovating that Hotel Beale, was to have really a cool interactive stop on that tour. And so we're working with a couple architects. Bill Otwell, he's a really prestigious, well-known, his list of awards are absolutely amazing. He's worked on the Powerhouse in Kingman. They're going to be fixing it up and restoring it to its, historic.
Oh yeah.
And doing,
bring back to its
museum
original
exhibit
beauty.
Windows and so that's really exciting. And then another thing that's coming up in Kingman. So we've got the Andy Devine Days Parade. Mm-hmm. And gosh, I wish I knew what the date of that is. We could next Saturday.
It says right here next.
In my head, I was like, I think it's the 28th. So that's the 28th. So that's going to be a really exciting little parade. And then in October, October 11th and 12th, we have the I Heart 66 Fest. Right. So that's the Route 66 Fest that they do festival over at Lewis Kingman Park.
Correct.
And that event is really amazing. And they are gracious enough to let us, as volunteers, serve the beer. And then we get a donation to Kingman Main Street. So we try to promote that. But this year they're doing all local beers.
Right.
So they're working with all the local breweries.
And some great breweries here in Kingman for those that are interested. And wineries, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they're going to have local bands, this time all local bands. So that's going to be really fun. And they're shuttling people both days to downtown Kingman. So they're really trying to help bring business downtown.
Revitalization of Main Street is we've been watching that, Mary and I, for like the last 2 or 3 years. You've started the Friday night gigs, which I love.
Mm-hmm. First Fridays. Really.
Yeah.
We've had I think our first event we had 8.9 thousand visitors.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So good for you. It's coming to life again, which I think it was what everybody was looking for.
Yeah.
Jim, you had mentioned also the last time I was here, we were talking not only the renovation of Hotel Beale, the Sportsman is also that has been revitalized, and then the building next to that. So let's go.
The Brunswick.
The Brunswick.
Well, that whole block, the downtown revitalization, the Beale Street infrastructure project was huge. And the Beale is key. Just any work at all that's done on that, and that facade renovation will be like adding jet fuel to this.
Yeah.
It's going to be transformative downtown. The Brunswick Hotel, now they've got a gallery there. Garibaldi's restaurant has moved in there from the Arizona store. It's got both buildings. Yeah, that block is the key to downtown.
Yeah, it's all part of that Route 66 magic. And I'm hoping, again, 2026, Jim and I have some great ideas for 2026. We just want to make sure that we're around to see it happen.
Yeah.
We're going to try. We'll try to hang out. Anything else coming up that you want to share with everybody? You like I said, you don't slow down, do you? You're just constantly going.
I think one thing that I've been kind of inspired about is since we've moved from Beale, we really fought hard to get that renovation and advocate for that, and that happened, and Beale Street is looking absolutely beautiful.
Right.
Now our sights are really on Route 66 on Andy Devine, and so we have some ideas for really simple ways to help to beautify and create, a sense of place on Route 66. And so I think, we're looking at doing something like historic black and white photos in the windows of some of the shuttered buildings,
Right.
and fun wayfinding signs along the street, and just things that the community can come together and fund. So really simple things that I think will go a really long way in just making our little stretch of Route 66 really welcoming, historic and beautiful. And so I think
Well, people need to stop.
Yes.
And
and stay a while.
Stay, yeah. Come and explore and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
I think the whole concept of Live from the Main Street of America is to visit a city and talk about the excitement that's there. So the people that are planning their 2026 trip, or even next year, finding a reason to stop and see what's happening. There's parts of Interstate 40 which led pretty much to the demise of Route 66. You can get from point A to point B much faster if you get on the 40 and get there. You can get there in an hour.
Yeah.
It'll take you 3 hours if you take Route 66. It's going to take you even longer if you stop and look around.
Yeah.
Mary and I say the same thing every time. Stop and look around. There's some
Yeah.
things that you probably didn't know existed. And if you're out to explore Route 66, if you're going to be part of the Centennial, come by. I don't know what the right word that I would have is. The amount of income that comes from Route 66 for small business that really needs to continue. I mean, this is like a lifeblood for a lot of people in town, and they're here waiting for the guests to show up. They just need to take the time to get off the freeway. Now, I know I see it all the time. From Kingman, you get on, let's head west from Kingman. You just shoot out Kingman, you get to Needles, and then you explore. You're missing Oatman. You're missing Sidewinder Pass. You're missing everything that's going on in that city, which is always fun to see.
Yeah.
And then don't. Stop. Come by and visit. Let's keep these businesses alive. I'm a big fan of the folks over at Pinnacle in Oatman.
Yeah,
And
we are
I think
too.
they're just doing whatever. I mean, selling cactuses and paintings and artistry. And it's like, come by and take a look. It's not all keychains and shot glasses. There's some really talented people along Route 66 that would love for you to stop by and see it. And I love what you're doing there on west of 3rd, east of 2nd, and north of Main Street. I don't know. I'll figure I'll get my bearings somewhere. But your enthusiasm is so infectious. You should be out there every day. You're like the perfect spokesperson for the city of Kingman. You do a great job.
Well, that's why we're instant besties.
Yeah, I know. We are like Insta friends. It was like, Jim, thanks for the introduction. She's made
Jim,
things.
thank you.
But again, anytime you have any information, we want to come back and do a show here. But we're going to try to make our way down Route 66 and spotlight some of the cities and some of the people. Leanne Toohey is going to join me next week. Saturday
Oatman.
from Oatman. Not only, I mean, she does everything too. She's like you. What is it? Jackass Junction. She runs. Is that the name of the business she
Yeah.
has? So she has that business there. She has the SOS, which is a sanctuary for wild burros and donkeys. I know she's part of the Mineral Society. She's part of the the History Museum. So I'm gonna just really love having her on the show to talk about what people don't see by not stopping and taking a look. I know you're going to stop by Seligman. You want to see Angel, and again, you're going to get a keychain.
Yeah.
Come by and see it. And again, on Main Street. Main Street is just one block over. We are
Beale Street.
on Beale.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of splitting the hair. I mean, we're one block off 66.
66. But I still call it Route 66.
We could go further. This used to be Highway 466.
466. That's right. There's some history for people that may not know that.
Yeah.
But Sarah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You've made the
This
hour
was
go by
really
so
nice.
fast. That's crazy. But stay in touch, will you?
Absolutely.
Promise.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So let's see. There are some big events coming on for those that are listening across the Route 66 and the Mother Road. October 3rd through the 5th is the Texas Motor Tour from Adrian to Shamrock. October 5th also is the big Albuquerque International Balloon Festival. Yukon, Oklahoma, it's the 50th Czech Festival on downtown on Route 66. We just talked about it at Lewis Kingman Park. The Kingman Route 66 Fest is coming up. And Jim, are you going to be part of this October 31st, Miles of Possibility Route 66 conference?
Yeah, I'm heading. I'll be a keynote speaker in Edwardsville this year.
Wonderful. So, there are just so many things going on Route 66.
That Czech Cultural Festival is really fascinating. It gets overlooked a lot there in Yukon, on Garth Brooks Boulevard, by the way. But that's the largest Czechoslovakian cultural festival outside of the Czech Republic.
Yeah, I've seen the website. I've seen the videos. I would like to go to one of those. So I can't wait to make that happen. We have more people here, Jim, that you've brought in as guests to talk about things in Kingman. Say anybody that knows what's going on, not only in the city of Kingman. This gentleman, I have every time I come to Kingman to do any kind of social thing, you are here. You've got your little camera going. You've got information. You know what's happening. Those that don't know Steve, he runs a marketing company called
Talisman Magic Marketing.
There you go.
That's a little bit closer.
There you go. No, that was my bad for not having the mic up. And you do videos, promotions, and marketing, but you also, I assume, donate a lot of your time for special events. Jim was really excited that you were part of the Kingman Tourism website. You were able to get that.
The Kingman.Tours project,
Yeah, so talk about that so people know what's going on.
Yeah, so Talisman Magic Marketing is kind of the marketing entity of my world. The B News, which is a website and social media, is my way of keeping the whole tri-state connected with news and information.
Right.
And when I met Jim almost 10 years ago now, and the written word and the historical significance of your area is such a big part of culture. And it's extremely interesting. It's engaging. It's something that for people who try to create content in marketing and advertising, that's their goal, is to create really engaging, interesting things. And everybody cares about what's happening in their community. And they love hearing about how things got started, the history behind things.
Right.
So when I met him 10 years ago, he was doing some consulting over at a local hotel. And since that point till now, we've been collaborating on as much content writing, historical significant information for the Bee, for my clients. He does a lot of blogging for my clients. So he'll do a story about the beginning of pest control or how landscapes got started in Arizona.
Jim will be the first one to tell you that having your head filled with useless knowledge is better than no knowledge at all.
That's right.
So, yeah.
So, I find a huge amount of value in that. And so when we started to really kind of put our heads into like, look, how can we make the place that we live just a little more attractive, bring more attention to it? Well, we can do it by creating and crafting interesting stories about our area. And then when Kingman Main Street formed, it was like the perfect opportunity to say, hey, we want to help do what you guys are doing. And we want to make this place this gravity ball of interest and intrigue and get people from all over the world to want to come here. And he'd been doing it for years through all of his tours and consultations with tour companies, and it was like, let's bring it up a notch and let's partner up with Main Street. And they came to us. Actually, they came to Jim first and said, we have a project. Right. We want to make a statue of you. And if anybody knows Jim, he's not one to want to have his face plastered all over the place. I tried having a T-shirt made with his face probably 7-8 years ago, and he said no. But sometimes everything's about timing.
Yeah, he doesn't take compliments really well.
He's doing it.
He is a very humble man. But I tell you, when Mary and I came out, I believe it was last summer, and we went over to the park where the locomotive is. Mm-hmm. And I called Jim, or I texted him, let him know that we were in town. He was busy doing something, but he said, hey, you can listen to the Kingman tour and find out more about the train. And it was like I had to.
Oh, perfect.
We had already listened, which prompted the phone call.
Yeah.
But when I told him I went down to get the photo next to his statue.
Yeah.
That just humbled this man. It's like, I don't know why they did that. I mean, you have a bronze statue. For those that don't know, and we're not kidding, if you drive into Kingman and you get on Andy Devine and probably about a quarter mile down past the powerhouse, you'll see the old railroad depot that has the train museum inside. And standing out in front of that is a bronze statue of this gentleman.
Life size.
Yeah.
It's not one of those little ones.
It's not so much humility. It was my concerns about the witness protection program.
Yeah.
But you handle humility well. I just, you know what, there's when I first got to interview him on the podcast a couple of years ago, I told him I felt like Charlie Bucket. I was standing in the candy store, I was opening the wrapper, and I got the golden ticket.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things that I get to sit and talk to this man, and I think we've done, 3 or 4 shows now, and I always have something new to talk about because,
for sure.
And I get kind of tired of his stories, and he gets really tired of my stories, but it still find it kind of interesting that we always learn something.
Oh, for sure.
And people can find that I noticed on the Bee, because I browse social media, Instagram and Facebook and the rest of them. You share a lot of information that
I wish that there's going to be a day where the B News is talking about stories of success and history and culture and legacy and news unfortunately is a very divisive
seriously
it's just a category that unfortunately the way social media works is a lot of the negative news or the trauma and drama is what seems to get the most reach and impressions. Right. But there will be a day where I think I can isolate that all out of social and just keep it on the website for the purpose of the information being available.
It's a wonderful dream,
social,
Steve. Really.
No, I would love that. That's the purpose.
I'm right there with you. And it's like...
That's my hope.
Yeah, when I first put... Arizona podcast on the air, I said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk to the clergy, but we won't talk religion.
Yeah, there you go.
We're going to talk to politicians, but we won't talk politics. Yeah. And I think if more social media would do that instead of the negative divisiveness, I think we'd be better off.
We'd be in a better world, I think. People would start making more positive choices than negative choices just because that pressure and influence is constantly around them. But kind of tailing back into the Kingman Tours project.
Right.
So, bam, all of a sudden, Jim's like, I know the guy that can help make this digital in the new era of things. So yes, we do a statue and we try to get people to mingle around town. How can we make this into one of those interactive, immersive things? And he knew that I'm a super geek. I'm like the geek of geeks, and I don't even think I'm that geeky because the people that I follow and that I mentor with.
My wife is laughing because she says you're sitting across from a geek.
Oh,
I get it.
Yeah, so you're geek speaking right now, right? And so he jokes that he's modern Amish. Well, I'm the guy that the day that Android phones came out, I had it next to me and I slept with that thing, refreshing the Android market, hoping another app would show up so I could look at stars in the sky with my phone. I said, hey, let's take this project. I think we can make it into kind of an interactive QR code, immersive, you could literally walk the downtown on your phone from Germany and decide that yes, that's where I want to go next year for my vacation, and that's what it was, and it was the ability to take something and make it also self-guided, so someone can just show up in their car and they can just guide themselves around Kingman, and this is now becoming a very trendy thing with these tour companies is that tour companies love it when they can throw everybody in a bus and run them all around Route 66.
Right.
But they also are creating packages where they can give people just here's what you do, these is where you stop, this is the places to go, here all of your hotels are paid for, all of your places to stop and your restaurants are ready to go, and they let people just self-drive. So this is another one of those opportunities to help accommodate that type of tourism.
Right.
So what's really neat about it is as it evolves, is that the idea is that you're going to be able to go to, let's say, a historic like the Benelli House,
Right.
and you'll be able to look at it virtually online, but you'll be able to take a step in. So the idea is, in the long term, probably over the next year, is to take certain points of this tour and make it to where you can actually get inside of where it is, look around, and also the software I'm using allows me to create these points of interest inside of a virtual space.
Yeah.
So you can click on it and watch a video of maybe Walter talking about the Benelli House, and it's a video inside of this 360 environment. So it's going to continue to evolve. The latest upgrade to the tours project was some new guides to help people kind of find the locally owned and operated restaurants in the downtown area. It was an easier navigate from one point of interest to the next. So if I'm sitting at the Benelli House and I scan the QR code on the plaque and I'm looking at it, it'll automatically find out where I am using the little location request. And as soon as it does that, I can see a little map and I can find out where the next closest one is. I could click it and it will tell me it is 250 feet, walk this way, take this street, take this left. Kind of like Google Maps, but inside of this virtual, world. And so we did that. We upgraded that software, and then the next step that we just started talking about is really cool. And I know that AI is becoming kind of like this. People are kind of sick of hearing about it, but
it's crazy what it can do.
Yeah, we're doing something that is it's solving a problem that people have with AI, which is people don't like when AI just runs amok and you ask it something and it's giving you an answer, and you really start to wonder if that answer is accurate, and you want to see the sources. He's an old school researcher, and I know maybe you are. When you look up something, you want to get the sources and the information. AI can do hallucinations where if it doesn't know the answer, it knows what it should say, and it says something it thinks is right. So what the new technology is allowing us to do is do what's called a data store. So instead of it going and running around the internet amok to find information it thinks might be right, I tell it only look here in this folder of data. So what we're doing is we're doing something that I haven't seen any other author do in the entire world, which is taking a book, taking information that he already has written, and using that as the actual source of the training model for the AI.
There you go.
What that allows us to do is someone can go to Kingman Tours, let's say in a couple weeks, and it will say, ask Jim's AI. This is using the wealth of his knowledge. Ask me anything. Okay, well, I'm traveling down.
But will it include his humor?
It can add in personality traits, and as it'll get better and better. But ideally, they still want to see him in person. But it'll be able to answer questions like, what are some of the great places to have pie when leaving Seligman at Kingman? What are some spots? And it'll be things that he had mentioned in one of his books will be what's used as the data that's given to the person.
So we've run out of time. We're actually over our hour, but you please share with us that website address.
Yeah,
and that's
www.kingman.tours.
Yep. And then and if they need more information from you, because you're the geek that they can get the information from, they can find you.
They can click the contact button on there and send in a request, or the b.news, which is another website. Any of the contact forms, I look at every single request. So
wonderful.
Yep. Thank you,
Steve. Thanks for being able to jump on the air. We do appreciate that.
Absolutely.
My official co-host, I didn't hear much from you today, but thanks for hanging out with me.
Not a problem.
Yeah, I learned. If there's some things that I've learned is, and I like to have fun with is I will show you where the second biggest ball of twine is, and I'll tell you how fun it is. And I think if we find out more of those places that we can share with people every day, I find something new where Jim will say, oh, while you're there, turn left on this street and go look at that. So with that said, guys, I see we have gone over our time. I cannot thank everybody enough for being part of this. I do apologize for our friends on Facebook and YouTube that have had to actually just watch, because I understand there's no audio at all. Again, the very important parts of this page didn't come home with me, so I apologize. Next show, I promise, a multiple checklist, and my beautiful bride over there she too will make sure that I bring all the things and double and triple check. I should have doubled and triple checked with her to make it all come together. Jim Hinckley, thank you so much for being
You
a part
bet.
of the program. And again, thank you for listening and tuning in on Podbean. I can't thank you enough for everything. Join us anytime. You'll find us on all social media and the website, ArizonaPodcast.com. Again, we'll see you next time next week. Leanne Toohey, we're going to find out what's happening in the city of Oatman.
Program terminated. Thank you for listening to the Arizona Podcast. For more information on our podcasts, the people, places, events, or the sponsors heard, visit ArizonaPodcast.com. Available for download everywhere.